Hey everybody. So I just wanted to do a quick video talking a little bit about the recent drum cover I did of Come Together. So I've known about this bit of controversy forever now, in regard to Ringo talking about his inability to play descending fills down the kit, so like down the toms. And there's one video in particular where Ringo is playing on a 4-piece kit, so minus the second rack tom, and he's demonstrating how he played Come Together.
But why we got to this is because, you see, I'm left-handed and I'm playing a right-handed kit. If there's any drummers in here, you see, they usually go, you know, they go round the drum this way. Well, I can't do that. See, I can't go. So I have to get this hand down to roll. So that's why everyone thought, wow, he's a genius. But all I was doing is trying to play backwards.
There are obviously examples throughout the Beatles catalog of Ringo playing fills in that fashion. Day Tripper, he plays a few fills where he starts on the floor tom and goes up to the rack tom, which for drummers that are right-handed and lead with their right hand, it's really hard to do. He's basically saying that he has to start it on the floor tom in some fashion like that. He's playing on a 4-piece kit in the video, so he's basically just playing. So if we're talking about the specific pattern, it's the very intro of the song. So for me, when I listen to Come Together, I've always heard it starting on the high tom, going down to the floor tom. And if you listen to the pitches of the drums, that's what you're hearing. You're hearing, or in some fashion, the way I play it. Well, for one, I think we can all agree he starts with his left hand. Whether it's down here or up here, he's starting with his left hand. And the way I play it is. So the left hand never actually goes down to the floor tom. It's all right hand, and it's just 2 notes on the floor tom. So that's how I play it, and that's how I hear it in the recording. You know, if Ringo was starting it on the floor tom, you would hear a much different pattern. It would sound very different, you know. Or something to that effect. If he was starting on the floor tom, you would hear those lower pitches first. And, you know, I've heard arguments from some people about, well, maybe they tuned up the floor tom to be a higher pitch. It's possible, but there are other signs in the song leading to that most likely not being the case. One is the fact that throughout the rest of the song in the verses, he's playing 8th notes on the floor tom. And you can clearly hear it's a much lower pitch. So it just wouldn't make sense for, you know, that tuning to be kind of flip-flopped. Just doesn't make sense. And he's also played, like I said in the past, he's played fills where he started, you know, ascending, starting on the floor tom, going up to the rack tom. Day Tripper, You Won't See Me, there's some fills in that song where he's doing that. So if he were going to play that pattern starting on the floor tom, it doesn't make sense to me that they would go through the trouble of changing the tuning so drastically. And you can clearly hear in the pattern that it ends on a low note. And to get that kind of sound out of a 8x12 or 9x13 rack tom, Just kind of doesn't make sense. So then, interestingly enough, just the other day, the YouTube channel Gear There and Everywhere did a feature on Ringo. It's fantastic. There's a link for it in the description here. Highly recommend checking it out. And one of the guests was Gary Astridge, who is Ringo's curator of all of his vintage kits. A really great guy. I've met Gary numerous times. Got to hang out with him a bit. But in his interview, he's talking about an instance where Ringo sat down. I believe it was on his first Downbeat kit. It was after, or it was right before it was going up for auction. And Ringo sat down behind it and started playing Come Together.
When he did Come Together, he goes off the hi-hat and he went from the tom to the floor tom. And you know how Ringo always says that he's got to go counterclockwise. They always start low and go high. I shot him some kind of a look. And then he goes back in his stool and he starts laughing. And he goes, "You caught that?" And I said, "Yeah." I go, "I know what you're doing."
So I thought that was very interesting because, you know, I'm not saying Ringo has been like lying about this for years. I just think like, you know, I think he is more than capable of playing that pattern in a descending fashion. And especially with the second rack tom, I feel like it makes it easier. It's probably a little more difficult for him to play it with 2 rack toms only. But when you have the second rack tom to go to, and especially when you're not going down to the floor tom with your left hand at all, it makes it so much easier. Because it's just the right hand coming down here. I guess my point is, I don't necessarily think Ringo was incapable of playing that pattern. He's obviously said it in numerous interviews. And I truly think that maybe is the case, playing it, you know, with just the 2 toms. But then again, Gary Astridge in this interview says he saw him play it. So, you know, it's just one of those things. I just think Ringo is more capable of certain things than some people might think he is, and that maybe he even thinks he is. You know, I think he's more capable, you know, pulling off certain things technically, physically, whatever, than he might even think he's capable of. But the biggest giveaway for me is just the pitches of the drums on Come Together. It's clearly starting on the high tom, down to the floor tom. I just don't think there's any argument against that. And, you know, hey, I could be totally wrong, but that's just how I'm hearing it. You know, a lot of other drummers I see on YouTube playing Come Together are also hearing it that way. It's just kind of pretty solid proof to me that it's starting high down to low. Who's to know? They obviously never played the song live, so but this is just my take on it. I just wanted to put it out there because I have noticed, you know, after putting out that cover of it, that, you know, I think there's just more controversy around it than I realized, because just having heard that song for, you know, 40 years, to me it's just like a no-brainer. It's like, oh yeah, starting high, down to low. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe. Really appreciate everybody reaching out and subscribing, and glad you're enjoying the videos. I'll see you soon.